When I want to know about esports, I go to his channel. This is Steel and you're watching Thorin.
This video, like all the videos on my channel pretty much, is brought to you in association with what? Delicious Gamer Supps, of course, my favourite energy formula. Has that really nice long high, then it has a very nice smooth plateau before it gradually tapers off. Doesn't have that harsh crash that make you feel like some sort of effed up junkie where you're like, what am I doing to myself? By the way, if you don't know, the kinds of things that are in energy formulas, things like caffeine, B vitamins, etc. They're actually things which, by the way, people separately will supplement and say these are good for your health and good for your thing and they can be useful each day. But then people just see them as mysterious and like sinister when they're packaged in an energy drink. That's not what it's like in this one. Also, Gamer Sucks has like less than 1 calorie per serving, and each tub has like 100 servings or something. So they've got a load of new flavors. Like here's a brand new one. Actually, this is actually the caffeine free one, but they have caffeine version. Obviously, this one's called Incel Tears. I believe it's a type of peach and cream because obviously, look, that's the peach and that's the cream. You think about it. Anyway, so whatever. That's actually quite a pleasant one. I'm not a huge peach fan, aside from the obvious, but I do think the cream aspect actually sort of like balances it out quite nicely and actually takes off the end of the peach flavour, which is the part that's not my favourite. I don't mind the beginning part of peach. So obviously shout out to Gamer Supps and anyone who purchases it with the code Thorin, Thorin. You can get 10% off that flavour and anything on their store. So waifu cups, apparel, loads of other flavours. Maybe you want a flavour like Sakura Splash. It's a sort of sour cherry. It's quite delicious. Maybe you want the Browser Brew. It's a type of black currant. It's quite delicious if you know the English drink Ribena, similar to that. So obviously the first phase of the major already came and went. It's now called the opening stage, and that's where the first 8 teams get qualified through to the second switch, which we're now going to do, the elimination stage of the second CS2 major, the Perfect World Shanghai Major, which you will absolutely be fully aware is being run by Perfect World, and PGL is only running the English language broadcast. Oh, sorry, my bad. I just keep reading Dust's Twitter feed. Fucking hell, mate. Give it a break, will you? Hey, guys, does anyone know if Dust's doing events at the moment, or what part of the event major PGL's running? I'd like an update on social media every now and then. Give me a fucking break. Listen, we all know you're hyphy to be on your first major, but bloody hell, mate. It's like in the PGL green room, they go, what do you guys want for, what do you want to drink? And then Dust goes, and then Maui goes, I'll have a coffee if you've got one. And Dust goes, I'm working the major, you know. And they go, yeah, we know, Dust, you're here with us now, mate. It's like, oh, my bad. Anyway, that's enough Dust roasting. He is on the major, by the way. Shout out to him for getting his first major. So in the first phase, as I will show you, I did really badly. But it was with good reason, although that's cope. But we'll get into why that is. So when we go in now, as you can see, if I go to the phase I fucked up, in this phase, I took, let's start with these are the real ones that did get through. So how do I put on, like these were mine, there's the ones that did get through. So first things first, I did pick Mongols. By the way, it's hilarious because if anyone actually saw the video I did last time, Mongols was the one I ummed and ahed about. And I was thinking actually of using the old strategy of don't pick a 3-0 real 3-0 team because what the odds they do it. By the way, now the actual 2 best 3-0 teams pretty much did 3-0. So I should have just done that strategy, but whatever. I don't know if I still would anyway. I still thought Liquid could have lost a BO1. So to me, the key thing here is I was going to go with Mongols, who actually is probably on paper the best team in the group, and Furia, because I thought Furia either like creeps through or they just blast everyone. They win the 2 BO1s and then they get a lucky draw and they win the best of 3. So I picked Furia. Obviously, Furia ended up going through here, so that fucked me. I did get Mongols though. Like everyone in the universe, except people who picked Imperial, who I still don't understand how you can pick Imperial. I think if you look at this tournament, there's no reason on paper you should ever pick Imperial ahead of Rare Atom, maybe even Wildcard. Those are the 2 obvious ones, so they're the ones I picked. I mean, Wildcard just has fuck all experience as a mad international squad that doesn't even make sense, and their players just aren't actually that good. They kind of actually walked on water a bit. Rare Atom just barely plays Counter-Strike officially, if you don't know, and they're from China, and they're a mixed nationality roster. So to me, those are obvious ones. By the way, I would pick, if you offered me this again, I would pick Rare Atom again, but obviously they didn't lose, did they? Because they beat bloody Fnatic 2-1. And then Wildcard actually even got through the phase. So I only got 1 out of these 4. So spoiler, if you get 1 out of those 4, and there's only 6 here, you're going to have a hard time because you're going to need to get 4 of these right. So if you look here, I only got that one right. And then I only got 2 out of these. I got MIBR, who I was actually quite confident in. I actually thought played great. They played exactly as I hoped they would. Gamer Legion, that was a little bit more hit and miss, but they did get through in the end. I guess not as many people picked them. So I had Fury in my 3-0, so they did go through. I didn't pick Pain. I didn't believe in them. They actually proved me wrong many, many times. Fair play to them. I didn't pick Big, because I actually think, again, by the way, see this bet here, Big against Cole, I would take the Cole side on that again today if I was offered it again. I still find it crazy that Big actually won the series. So, I fair play to Big for proving me wrong. And obviously, Wildcard, I still wouldn't pick them. Even if I could run it back again, I wouldn't pick Wildcard. So the fact that they made it through, I have no problem with that at all. Fair play to them. Obviously, the one that hurt me is Liquid didn't actually lose any matches. So Liquid just 3-0'd. That would have been the one that could have been the game changer, couldn't it? Even though that still only would be 4 picks. I only got 3. I actually did so insanely shit. I got that one, and that one. So let's see how we do in the next phase. So what we'll do again is we'll run through all the teams, then I'll pick the teams I'm going to do. So G2 is obviously an actual true favourite to win this event. Even though, to me, I don't care about the 2 blasts they've won in the sense that I don't think it makes Snacks legit. They have just got a crazy composition of skilled players who, because it's CS2, especially on T-side, can just go off and shoot you in the head. Like, it's actually really hard to play. Everyone knows Malbs is the X factor because they've already got Nico and Monacy. But the difference is, you've got Nico and Monacy, and then Malbs is your X factor, your third player. Like, that's why when they come along, and by the way, if Hunter ever turns up in a match with them, it's over. Like, if this team plays, it's like, it's equivalent of 100%. They're 100%. They probably win this major. Like, it's probably the team with the biggest puncher's chance. Even though I actually don't think they play a great team CS, and they shouldn't win the major. But Na'Vi's the, like, baseline favourite. I think with recent form, you have to say then G2. Then you maybe put Vitality if you're me. I just think because of the squad they have, and they have Ziwu. Then, so I have G2 as a clear favourite, so obviously, spoiler, I'm almost certainly going to pick them to go through. The question is just who will go for 3-0 here. And then we've got Na'Vi, who's... Actually, I've just realised I should go through all these as I do it per phase, right? So I'll do the 3-0s. I'll do 0-3 first. That's the one that makes the most sense, actually. That's the way I should do this video. So who is going to 0-3? Spoiler, I am instantly probably just going to put wildcard straight there. Straight away. No fucking questions asked. And one of the reasons why is I'll just quickly look up some stats shit about wildcard. Let me just double check something for you. So I need to know, in the first phase, I'm just going to look this up. Right, wildcard, remember there was obviously 16 teams in the opening RMR, in the opening Swiss phase. And wildcard, you had to make top 8, obviously, to qualify. Wildcard was the 9th team in terms of team rating. They were 1.02 as a team. And that's when they're playing shitter teams that you don't give a fuck about. So, oh my goodness, are they out of their depth at this particular stage of the tournament. If they can make it, props to them. I have no reason right now that I can conceptualize why they would make it. Even if they win a BO1 just to not go 0-3, it'd be a fluke against pretty much almost any opponent. Like, realistically, who could they actually beat and have it not be a crazy fluke? Maybe Gamer Legion. Maybe. I think even Pain is more established. I actually think Big and MIBR in theory are just better teams. So to me, them even winning a map is good here. So I'm having them 0. That's the easiest 0-3 of my life. Then it gets a bit trickier though, which is who do I pick for the other 0-3? Because the problem here is this. I'm now tempted to do the Gamer Legion pick as a 0-3 because I do think they have shown the inexperience of the young stars, and it looks to me like this. Like, this is the major where they learn what majors and big events are about. It's like the next major where maybe they can come online and this core could actually make like a cheeky run and be an outsider to do something. But it's between them. I actually think 3D Max has just earned their status at this point. It's between Gamer Legion and Pain for me right now. I even think you can't bet against Furia because the problem is when you got people like Keserato, you can have a BO1 that you pop off in and win the game, even against a big favourite. Also, in the BO3s, if you put Furia against Gamer Legion, Wildcard, Pain, Big, maybe MIBR themselves, wouldn't it? Maybe 3D Max, you could see them winning these series. So I think to put Furia last is ridiculous. I don't think you can do that at this point in time. Pain I could do, but somehow they always find a way to win. So I think for me, it's between Pain and Gamer Legion. And I also think Gamer Legion actually was a little bit underwhelmed. They actually fragged really badly, by the way. It's insane they've made. I think I'll just pick those two. Those seem like the obvious two to pick. I think Gamer Legion's just done their job already getting this far. So if we now do, let me think. I think I'll do the 3 zeros now. So like I said, I actually think G2 to 3 zeros, not bad. But here's the problem. I think of the top teams. So realistically, for me, G2, Na'Vi, and Vitality are like S tier. Then you pop in Spirit and Mouse, and that becomes like A+ tier. And then you're going down to the FaZe, Heroic, Mongols, like that sort of an area, right? So for me, out of these three, the most likely, like all these three could obviously 3-0. I mean, so by the way, in theory could Mouse as well. I don't know about Spirit. I feel like it's a bit more dodgy for them. I believe these 4 teams, G2, Na'Vi, Vitality, and Mouse could all 3-0. But of those 4 teams, the most likely to just blow a game randomly. I know people are going to think I'm saying Mouse. I actually think it's G2. G2's the one that'll fuck up and just come like last place in a tournament randomly. Even if they just won one 3 days earlier and they'll win the next one. They're the one I can't pick for that one. So I actually think G2's just a slam dunk pick to go 3-1, 3-2, actually. I keep forgetting. You put the cursor, not the icon in. So for me, it's like counterintuitive. That might be one of those autistic things, because there's certain things autistic people do that neurotypical people do the opposite, and we all just instinctively do it. Like, I'll give you a random one. Apparently, like, normal people, whatever, neurotypical or whatever the fuck, apparently they, when they're telling you have something on your face, act like a mirror, and they show you where it would be if you were a mirror to them, they show you, which is weird, because to me, the logical thing you do intuitively is you just show where it is on, I can't remember what way around it is. Let me think. Do I show where it is on my face, but they want me to show it as a mirror? I think it's that way around. Anyway, you get the point. So actually, I think G2 is a safer pick to go 3-1, 3-2. Like, I could see a world absolutely where, first of all, they can lose a BO3. Na'Vi, I actually think on paper is a favourite in Veto. I actually think Vitality beats them a lot of the times. The only one they almost, in theory, always beat is Spirit, and even then, Doc's getting better and better and better against Nico. I think Mouse they'd probably beat. That's the problem I have. I actually think there's a lot of 2-0 games that are traps for G2, even though they might actually be a bigger favourite than Vitality to win this major. By the way, Vitality is my pick for the major. So, let me see. So I think Na'Vi for me is the obvious like 3-0 to put there. Like, I do think they might have problems in the playoffs, but I think they're the most obvious team to get through all these aspects, and they've just got the most reliable base floor to their game. So and also when you're in BO1s, you can't catch them out in the Veto, and in BO3s you've got to be very specific style of team, and it's mainly only the other top teams that can catch you in the Veto. So for right now, I think I have to take Na'Vi 3-0. But I think the other 3-0 is the tricky one. Because here's my problem. Vitality does smurf a lot of group stages. But do I have them or Mouse? Because it's not between Spirit, it's them and Mouse, actually. And obviously you hate to... Basically, the problem is if Vitality lose one, it just sucks that they're definitely going to go through and then you don't get the bloody coin, do you? But I think I'm going to say fuck it. I'm going to do Na'Vi and Vitality there. I think they're the 2 strongest teams at the major. In terms of like who's going to win. It would probably be my dream final, by the way. So I'm going to have those 2 as my favourites there. Then along with G2, I'm going to immediately put a bunch of these. Like, I'm going to put Mouse there. Sure, they can fail, but they shouldn't. They've got the map pool. They've got the player's strength. They've got the like youthful exuberance and hunger to win. I actually think it's incredibly likely they're going to qualify through. Now I'm going to pick Spirit. That's an easy one too. You've got Donk, you've got Shiro. That's enough already. Your map pool's still pretty decent. It's nowhere near what it was in the first half of the year, the first season, but it's still more than decent enough to get you through this phase. You probably lose a B or 1 at some point in time. Maybe you even lose a best of 3. Maybe, I don't know, Heroic or Mouse or someone beats you in a best of 3. But I'll tell you what, I reckon you get through. I think that's a pretty confident pick for me. Then it gets trickier because already there's actually a whole bunch of teams you can pick from here. Like, people might know, I think Mongols is good enough to get through here. I think they will just fail when they get into the playoffs. I don't think the pressure will affect them now, but do I just straight pick them? I think I do. I actually think I have to take Mongols next over even FaZe and Heroic at this point, and Liquid, because I think they've just shown it. What I like about Mongols is, to me, most of the roles fit in the team, and I think actually they actually show you something about roster construction in CS2, because what they have, in my opinion, is they've somewhat nailed 3 roles in a way where it just doesn't matter who the other 2 players are. So they've got Senzu, who's a young aggressive rifler. That already, aggressive star rifler is a big deal. Then you want like an AWPer who's pretty good. In CS2, there's not many good ones. Actually, the 9-10 guy's decent. He's not a true star for me, but he's good. He's an X factor. So you've got Orpa and Starrett. That's already not bad. Then you've got a good IGL. The Blitz IGL does a good job. And he frags. So he makes up for, normally your IGL's IGLing, but shit at fragging. So you need more fragging from someone else. So now it doesn't matter what the other two are like. The other two can just be whatever. Like you can win the game. So for me, Mongols is an easy pick. I also quite like their map pool. It's getting better and better and better. And so many teams are willing to play the Ancient. So it's just right there for you, Mongols. It's there in loads of series, either as your pick or as a decider. Then I am going to go... Right, everyone will know this, right? These three teams here, FaZe, Heroic, and Team Liquid. Realistically, the question now just becomes, who are you biased towards and who do you like? Because there's reasons for and against all of these teams. Like, Team Liquid certainly could get out of this phase, but they never do anything fucking playoffs. And the ultimate guy, actually, on the bigger stages, has had some letdowns now. Heroic, on paper, the roles all look awesome. Maybe Dexter still doesn't play quite like he should, but they should be capable of so much more. This is a team, by the way, that should be making semi-finals every now and then, but it's a little bit too sparingly still. FaZe obviously have the pieces to do it, but you can never know in 2024 what FaZe is going to turn up, how they're going to play. With that said, though, I only have 2 spots left. And the tough thing here is this. I have to say it's actually Liquid I'm probably going to pick against out of these 3. I know in terms of like total failure, Heroic's probably the biggest scare factor. FaZe, I just feel like I'll just figure it out and get... I don't know, though. I guess they do sometimes have trouble. Let me think. How would FaZe do against most of these? No, I think they'll be fine, actually. I think FaZe will still be fine. So I think I'm going to take FaZe. And then I obviously want to make Liquid, but I also have Heroic. I'm going to go with my heart and a little bit of my head. I just feel like spiritually, Heroic's roster just makes sense. So I'll just say Dexter has a few good games. Nertz is mega anyway. The rest of the pieces are nice. Shush won't play as badly as he did at Esport. I'm going to take Heroic. As far as the others go, 3D Max, I don't hate them. I actually think they're somewhat legit with what they've done online, and you see actually on the last few lands have been decent. I just don't think they have any true stars in the way that I want them to have, and I don't think they bring enough to the game, so I won't have them getting through here. I think it would be an upset if they did. Liquid I could have picked. I really could have done Liquid instead of a Mongols or a FaZe or a Heroic, but I decided actually against it. My problem is, I've told you this since they launched the squad, is one, I thought Ultimate would get found out. I mean, it's gone too far the other way now. Now he's just actually getting trashed, but I thought he'd just fall off a little bit and be like just more of a reasonable player. For me, Twists is good, but he's somewhat wasted because I actually think his IGLing style works for him, but I don't think it's as great for certain other players. And then... a lot of Team Liquid, for me, winning games relies on, like, JKS wins a clutch, like, Naf has, like, an underrated couple of rounds he steals for you, so I just don't really believe in them as a squad. Also, something went wrong with their map pool. It just never fully developed. It's why, if you don't know, the team they give the best match to is always Na'Vi, because they have actually a rare map pool where their veto almost perfectly lines up with Na'Vi to give them a chance, but that's only Na'Vi. And even then, they lose the last few times, even if it's close. So every other top team, you expect Liquid to lose to, I'm afraid, too. Furia, I just can't pick in a tournament like this. They could do it, but I still think fundamentally they've got flaws at IGL. They've got flaws at Orpa. I think Skulls has overperformed actually in this tournament so far, so that leaves you with Keserato. Yuri's actually not as bad nowadays. He's sort of picked it up a bit the last few months. Keserato's still really good, but the problem he has is he's not a super aggro player, so he's not like the hard carry. He's more like a Blame F type player. Like, he'll put the numbers up, he'll always perform well, but it won't like snap the game in half for you. By the way, it's not that being aggressive automatically wins either. If you only have Donk and you didn't have Shiro win clutches, you wouldn't win many games either. It's just the way it works. MIBR, I do think is good, but I think they have a couple of draft holes in the veto. And even though Insane he's mega, he could do awesome here. I think now they're at the level of competition where most of the other teams have comparable levels of player. Big, I just think fundamentally isn't that good a squad, I'm afraid. It should be. On paper, it still looks great every time I see it on paper, but it never ever seems to play like that. I even think Tabson slightly overperformed in the previous phase for how he's been recently. Sirison slightly overperformed. Actually, Crimble wasn't even playing that well. The map pool's still a little bit sus. Like, you can still always kind of know where they're going to go in it. I don't believe in them. And then Payne, look, I didn't hurt on them putting 0-3, but I don't think they can make top 8 or something like this. They shouldn't. There's really no reason they should, is there? So there we go. I think those are my picks. That's the lock-in. Dr. Dre had NWA, DMX had the Rough Riders, and who is the crew holding me down, supporting me when necessary? It is, of course, my Patreon subscribers, the Skrill Illuminati. So this video, along with all the others on my channel, is kindly supported by Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Animosity, Banediesel, Jasun, Jensen Goh, Tosh, Thooorin, and you know who a special thanks goes out to because it's always my main man, Jerky's Minion. Do you want to ask a question for my video AMA? Do you want to find out who are going to be the guests on future interview episodes? Do you want to know who the guests are on my talk shows? Or maybe you'd like to suggest a topic or a guest? Perhaps you even want to take part in one of those lengthy, tailored to you discussions around esports that I do with the top tier donators. If any of those perks or others catch your fancy, then put your money where your mouth is, support me and join the Skrill Illuminati today via the Patreon link where in the description box below.